Hey, what's up? Dusk here. So I wanted to make a final video on Carnival Hunt, my final thoughts, and where this talk about where this game is most likely going. So just right off the bat to get to the point, Carnival Hunt is probably going to be successful, but it's going to be successful with a small niche audience. And that is partially due to the fact that the gameplay doesn't really have like big moments per se, and that is something that I think most people are probably interested in seeing and get disappointed when they don't exist because it leaves a feeling of anticlimacticness to the game. Whereas the niche group of players enjoy the anticipation and the build-up. It's kind of like people who enjoy baseball. Baseball is a game of anticipation, not necessarily like a game of big payoffs, right? Like you don't really watch baseball for the big home runs because those aren't common moments, right? It's about the setup, the plays, the strategies, the lineup, where your players and your start hitters are in that lineup, and all this stuff, right? It's a game of anticipation and small moments that you can kind of look at and be like, okay, this is in play, this is in play. That's very much what Carnival Hunt is and is going to be like moving forward. That said, you don't have to be a big successful hit, and there's nothing wrong with being a popular niche game. It might be popular with a small audience, but so be it. That's what it is. So if you're looking at Carnival Hunt and you're like, you know what, it is kind of a little bit fun, I just wish it was a little bit more fun. The game will get more fun as it evolves. Absolutely. And for proof of that, I want to go back to my first video where I talked about one of the things that I really noticed, and that was how in tune they were with the visual appearance of the game and how that directly tied into and affected the gameplay. Because I talked about the gamma slider, right? Well, in their latest patch where they were tweaking things with the game, they made a tweak that just like this very small tweak is going to have a very large impact on the game. And I was shocked at the simplicity of it because I was personally looking at Carnival Hunt and I was like, I don't really see how they salvage this without a huge overhaul of the game systems. I really didn't. And I was like, I think it's just dead on arrival and doomed. That's just really what I thought. But they decided to just increase the number of rabbit players in a round, but not increase the amount of resources available in those rounds. So rabbits would have to work together a little bit more, but you would have more, which would create more interaction for the magician and give more opportunities for escape because you have more rabbits working on things. But since the game revolves around the resources, the actual balance is semi unaffected. It's not affected as much. And I was like, oh my God, that was such a small scale change, that is going to be almost nothing but a positive impact on the game. And it's going to have a fairly large positive impact on the game. And like, it's that sort of like intuitiveness. Like, they're very in tune with this game they've been making. I was really surprised and impressed um, by that idea and that thought and that implementation. So again, it's not a game that's going to be for everybody because it's so like anticipation based and it's all kind of about the build up and less about the big moment at the end. Um, and so because of that, it is going to serve a niche audience. But I think it will do well successfully, and I think the game is probably going to have a little bit of a shelf life as a result. So if you're enjoying Carnival Hunt as it is now and are just excited to see it like evolve and get just like more fun than it already is, I think you're good to stick with the game and continue to enjoy it. And don't be disparaged if you don't see a lot of content creation going on with the game, because it's just not a game that supports like really engagey and clicky content, so there just won't be. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a supportive player base there, because at the end of the day, you can have a bajillion streamers on your game. Those streamers are not an actual revenue stream that supports the game itself. The revenue stream that supports the game are the players who buy the cosmetics and do the actual financial support. So as long as that's there, you've got a game and a dev studio, they're going to keep going. So That's the light at the end of the tunnel for everybody who legitimately enjoys Carnival Hunt as it is now. That said, if you're one of these people who are like, well, I think I see the potential in it and it probably could be fun, they just need to like meet that potential. I think that is probably a bad way to look at the game because it already is meeting its potential. And if you think it hasn't, then you might sort of be imagining a different game. And that is not the game that is ever going to materialize. And players like that will probably invest a lot of time and then get mad at the developers when they don't meet that potential, right? So I will caution you, like, if you want to stick around and be supportive, that's cool, but don't get mad at the devs if they don't meet the potential that you imagined, because you've probably imagining a different game that you will never see manifest. But sometimes that happens, and sometimes the game that does manifest ends up being a pleasant surprise. So if you are just curious and want to stick around and support the game, I think that will probably also be fine. Again, I think the game will see some mild success. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on Carnival Hunt, where it's at and where it's probably going to go. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.